welcome back to our channel. It's about, what is it, about 9:30 in the morning. We meant to get up earlier, but we're all extremely tired and not sleeping very well at night, so we got up a bit later this morning. Our top tank at the very top of the farm, the very big one, that's down to step number 4, so it's only got about this much water left in it. And the tank in our back garden is also low, and the tank in the back garden, I picked the water from a tank over here by using the water pump on the back of my trailer. But the big tank at the top, we're going to go down and start the lister pump. I've got diesel for it here, and I'd like to sort of say, after the fire video we did the other week, I actually phoned IPMA. I'll put a link to the fire safety website up here. I can never remember which way round the letters go. But I telephoned them yesterday asking them if I can actually use my petrol water pump, because it's the same as a strimmer or something like that. It's got a motor on it, it's got a petrol engine on it. They didn't really quite know. It took him a few minutes, and eventually he said yes, you can use a water pump if you're not in a forested area. We explained where our farm is because it's registered. He said yes, we can use it, but we have to have a fire extinguisher next to it, and we have to do it in the first hours of the morning or the end of the day. What's that?
There's a wasp and he won't leave my legs alone.
So we're off to go down to the lister pump and start it, and hope that my packing fix that I made last time is still working, so it actually pumps water and I don't have half a day of fixing it ahead of me. So it'd be nice if it just works today. So let's get on with it, get down the bottom and start the pump, and we'll show you us filling the tanks again, because obviously we need water at this time, don't we, with the fires around. So come on then, let's go and get on with it. And the reason we're allowed to use the lister pump is because it's inside a building. Right, so now to try and start it. I don't know if you heard what I was saying down there, but because of the noise of the engine, we're now going to go to the top tank and just double check the water's coming out. So let's pop off up the top and check the tanks are filling. Like I said, I'm going to go off up the top to check the water tanks filling up, and I'm going to use the Eleglide bike because it saves us a long walk, and it's like I said, it's about 20 to 10 now. And I'm starting to sweat, it's getting hot. We haven't got much longer before the day's going to get really hot, so I need to get all this stuff checked before the heat comes. So let's go. I can't believe I'm doing this one-handed. Oh, God, I'm cycling up here with one hand holding this camera. Woo! Yep, and I can hear it filling already from here. So for those of you that don't know, this is the lister pump where it comes out. As you can see, I've opened the door there, and it's slowly starting to fill up this field. I don't want to water this field today, so I'm going to shut this door again. And obviously, because it's fire season, we want to make sure this tank's filled up all the time, right to the brim. As because if you've got a large tank or a swimming pool, the firemen are allowed by law to take all that water. So one, if I stand here with my water pump so I can spray the top of the goat buildings there, I don't want to be using the 1,000 litre tank I've got on the back of my trailer. I want to take the water from here, and then if I need to go off and defend something else from the flames, I've then got that 1,000 litre water tank that I can drive away with. So the only thing we really do need to do here is think of somewhere trying to keep all these leaves out. But this is only drinking water for the goats and irrigation for the farm. So that's a good little job done this morning, and it's good to see that tank filling up. Now I've got to go and sort the tractor out and take the little water pump down to our other water tank before the heat gets up, and use it to fill up our tank in the rear garden. So I'm going to shoot back down on the bike and go and do that. And just another point about running the Lister pump and flood irrigating our fields. Like I just said earlier, when I was down at the Lister pump, we can run that pump any day we like, regardless of the fire bans, because it's inside a building. So if I use this, which sort of in a way does irrigate the land slightly better, if you like, and more evenly, because it's throwing the water like rain and falling down onto it, whereas when we flood irrigate, you're going to get water channels and then it just overflowing into the other part of the land. More than good enough to let your crops grow, but this is probably less efficient, but it will get the water out into a bigger area a lot quicker. But this means I've got to use my little petrol water pump, and that I can only use first thing in the morning or first thing at night during the fire bans. It's noisy, and it is just a fire risk. The things get extremely hot. They're blowing out red hot air, sometimes with little sparks on them, and that's why they're banned, because they could cause a fire. I think you can see behind me how brown everything looks now. All our lovely tall grass has now turned to what's pretty much perfect for baling up, and I'm hoping that next year, if I can get the land right, I can get a local guy to come with his hay cutting machine and his baler, and they charge you around €1 a bale to produce you 1 bale of hay from your own land. So that could be quite efficient for us, but we'll have to see. Got so much things going on, it's all got to happen bit by bit. So I'm just off now into the tractor and go start the water pump, the petrol one. Guess what I've just found again. I don't know what it is with this tyre, but this tyre just doesn't like me, does it? I think I've taken this tyre 4 times now to the tyre guy to get it fixed. I'm not saying they can't do their job properly, because they can. Normally they are top guys and they fix a puncture once and it's fixed. I think there's something we need to look more at this. Looks like I'm pumping a tyre up again before I can go and use the water pump. And you can see the tyre there, and have a listen yourselves. This needs fixing again. Such is life. Right, let's go take this down the bottom and start the pump. So what we do here, well, you're going to see in a second, but I put the pickup pipe, which is there, into this tank we've got here, because this one fills every single day without us doing anything. So the water coming out of that tube there comes from a natural water source, and the scent in Portuguese, and I'm trying to think what the word is in English, but I really can't think of it. Basically it's water that comes out of a rock. I can't think of the English name now. So anyway, we use this water because it's the purest water. It's drinking water. Basically it's spring water, that's the word I'm looking for. It's spring water. So we use this one, which goes to the tank at the back of our house, and we use this in the house for showers, etc. Just like that. And then this black tube here is what pushes the water, well, takes the water up to the tank at the back of the house. And for that we use this quick connector here, And I often tie this black tube onto here like this, just so it takes some of the strain off of this hose here. Everything's closed off. That one's going up because I want to fill the tank. I hope you guys can hear me over the noise of the engine, but can you see what's going on there? I explained this in another video that we made about building a fire protection system. That water bottle is keeping the sucker head, the pickup tube, just below the surface of the water. If I didn't have that bottle on there, the pickup would go to the bottom of the tank and it would suck up any mud or anything else like that to the bottom of the tank. So that's why I use a bottle. Yeah, I can hear the water running. There we go. That's pretty good. Pretty good. So this should be filled up in a couple of hours. So as you've just seen, I've topped the tanks up lower down in the farm. It's about midday, so we thought we'd stop and we'd do our question and answers, which we've been meaning to do for about 3.5 weeks now, I think. So lots of you have sent us questions via YouTube, our Facebook and other social media, and we thought it's about time that we answered some of those questions.
So once we've answered some Q&A questions, we will be getting into some more information about our surprise giveaway.
I suppose we ought to start off by saying thank you very much to all the people that have donated to the Buy Us a Coffee, which we use to raise money for our local sapadoras, which are the local first fire defence. We know them personally. Molly's boyfriend is now one of them. Well done, Zay. So we've reached that target and a little bit more, and hopefully we'll show you some more of that in next week's video when we let them know what we've done for them, because at the moment they don't know. So thanks very much. So come on then, Molly, you're going to get the questions out. Molly's going to read the questions out from her mobile, if she can see it in this sun.
I've got the brightness up. Okay. I am wondering where Alex has learned all of those skills to fix everything around the farm. Looks like he was some sort of mechanic in the past.
Yep, I was a mechanic. Well, mainly I've done a lot of things in my life. I've been a digger driver, I've been a civil engineer, I've done a lot of things throughout my life. But when I was in my mid-20s, I had a body shop, which is a panel beating garage and a paint shop. I used to have contracts with the police. We uprated chassis on the local ambulances. I did insurance work, and we also did a lot of classic car restoration. I've just always been using my hands throughout my life. My sort of best tip to anybody is if you think you can't do something, try it, you know.
Okay, so the next question is from Eco Warrior. Do you plan on having rented out spaces for workaway or travellers, like a cottage or yurt? I'm sure a lot of peeps would love to spend a few days on the goat farm.
No, we have a cottage on the other side of our land. In fact, the farm's actually got 3 habitable houses registered on it, but after the problems with the builder, we don't have the money to do that cottage up, so which was one of our plans. Our initial plan when buying the farm was to actually put wooden chalets on the lower part of the land that we've got there and rent them out correctly, but obviously we lost a lot of money, and that was a project that we had to stop and wait for court, and I think a lot of you know the rest of that. Okay, well, yes, we've got some land which is near the lake, which is suitable for people to pull up in motorhomes or to put a tent. They've got the view of the Gardenia Mountains, and they're within, I don't know, 100 feet of the large lake there. Yes, people can come and look at the goats. It's not something we do as an all-day thing for people because we're a working farm, so it's not really sort of an option for us for people to come and spend all day with the goats. But yes, if you were here and you were staying on our land, camping, technically sort of like camping overnight, then yes, of course we'd show you the goats in the evening and you could help feed them.
So the next question is from Pedro Martins. Hello, Alex, you speak Portuguese well. How long did it take you to understand the language?
Mas obrigado, Pedro. Thanks, Pedro. I speak good Portuguese. It's okay. Molly is much better than me. How long did it take me? It took me a couple of weeks to start talking some Portuguese. I think, again, the builder and the problems with the builder. I had to learn Portuguese to talk to the guy, you know. We had a lovely friend of ours who's one of the sapadoras, George, in the village, who at that point he had a hardware store in the village. He'd turn up every day and he would talk to the builder for me, and you just pick up words. All our friends are Portuguese. We've literally only got about 5 or 6 English people or non-Portuguese people that we know, and we spend all our time with the Portuguese, so that's why we talk Portuguese.
And the second part of his question, this one is for me. Molly, how old were you when you went to live in Portugal? And did you go to school there? So
seems like a lifetime ago now.
Yeah, I was 11.
Yeah, I think Molly was about 11 years old.
I'm turning 20 this year, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah.
And I went to the school in our village for
about a year. And then Molly would have had to have gone to a school further away because the school in the village could no longer teach children above the age that Molly was then. So we home tutored Molly for the last year and a half of her English courses, which she finished online.
So I have all of my paperwork and everything that I need if I need a job and so forth. So thank you for that question, Pedro. So I think I'm going to butcher your name, but your name is Verandi. Okay, so the first question is, did I hear in one of your videos that more people are killed in Portugal or are maimed or killed by tractors than cars?
Yeah. You think about it, virtually everybody out here, or every second, third person out here has got a tractor. Our builder died under a tractor. Been having a few too many sherbets, went round a corner but didn't go round the corner, flipped it up, boom, and the tractor was on top of him. I've rolled a tractor and I was that far from being dragged away with it and having the tractor end up on top of me. There was a man that worked on this farm many years ago, lost the bottom of his leg, which was taken off by a plough. He fell on the floor. The guy on the tractor didn't hear him, kept going, and the plough went straight through his leg and ripped his leg off. It happens all the time. And some of you might think I'm a bit boring going on about certain things like fires and tractor safety. That's why.
It's important.
Yeah, I don't want to end up like a squashed tomato under my tractor, thank you very much.
And the last thing I want to do is come out and find you squashed like a tomato.
Yeah. Right, next one.
Okay, the second one from him is, do you grow and utilise Asian persimmons on your farm?
We have got about 4 trees that produce the persimmons. The goats don't eat them. I only like them when they're super soft and they're super sweet, because they go through a couple of stages of when people like to eat them, whether they're hard, semi-hard, or when they've gone super soft. And when they've gone super soft, they taste super sugary. Sandra made a marmalade from them one year. It was okay, but it's not my kind of thing. But we give them away to friends when they come and visit that really like them. So we've got them, but we don't utilise them as much as we can. But we utilise a lot of the other fruits that we've got on the farm.
But they never go to waste.
Yeah, but the persimmons no, and we don't let them go to waste because that's just sacrilege, you know. So the next question is from Helen Bethwick.
Hi all, question about goat bedding. I saw that you use hay and straw as there are sawmills locally. Have you thought about sawdust or shavings?
Yes, there are. We've got a carpenter in our village that produces a lot of sawdust, but I won't use sawdust for my goats. And the reason why is a lot of carpenters or anybody that produces a lot of materials in wood, they won't just use natural wood. they'll use MDF and things like that, which contain glues, and they're extremely carcinogenic. The other reason we won't use it just creates too much dust. I know we get a natural dust in the hay, but with a sawdust it really is like quite a problem, and with everything being so dry out here, it really isn't as good. And the other reason we use the straw is that we can buy a huge bale of straw for about 25-30 euros, and once it's been used in the beds for the goats, we turn it into a compost, and because it's full of urine from the goats and all their little droppings, it's full of nutrients and goodness, and when it rots down it looks like a soil, and we use it to fill our raised beds for the vegetables. And that's the point. We haven't got a vegetable garden at the moment because we lost that in the fire, and we just haven't had the time to rebuild one, but our compost piles are growing quite well. So that's the reason why we don't use sawdust, although it's a good idea, but it's not for us.
And we also have another question from her. Have you thought about goat's milk soap? Think outside of the box, like Cleopatra.
Already do it, don't you?
Yep, but the one thing with goat's milk soap is that you will need to freeze the milk first, so when you add the lye, it doesn't scald the milk and you don't end up with a bad smelling bar of soap as your final product. Okay, so the next question is from Murray Dawson. How much milk do you get on average per goat? So that varies. So the minimum, I want to say the minimum we accept from our goats is 2.5 litres, but that's not.
Now the minimum's about 2.5 litres for a smaller goat, and we've got 6 Susie, or Sexy Susie she's known now, and a couple of others can produce 6 litres a day. So we started with the herd that we bought, and what we're going to do is breed with the better ones, the ones that produce us more milk and are better mothers, and then slowly we'll sell off the other females that are not quite as productive or as good as mothers, and we're just going to try and refine our herd of goats.
Second question from Murray. Do you add coagulant to your milk for cheese making? Yes, I do, and I use a vegan rennet, which is made from thistle heads, which I buy pre-mixed in a stronger solution, mix it down with water and add that for my coagulant. And then another question from Murray. Do you add fungi/bacteria to make different cheeses? Normally yes, for cheddars and parmesans and blue cheeses. Blue cheese is a completely different thing because it's a different type of bacteria and a different type of culture. But for the types of cheese I make, such as cheddar and parmesan, no, I do not need to add a mesophilic culture because I used raw, unprocessed goat milk. And how do you stop the billy goat smell getting into the milk? We get this a lot, actually.
Yeah. Well, we were lucky. We had Jeff in with our girls for 8 months, 9 months, something like that, or maybe even longer. I can't remember now. He stinks. I mean, he really stinks. He urinates all over himself. He wheezes in his mouth. His legs stink. I mean, he's horrible. Never ever once did we get a hint of his smell in our girl goats. Now you could get another boy goat and his smell will enter the udders of the female goats. We were just extremely lucky that Jeff just didn't cross-contaminate the milk, but now he's locked in a completely separate compound with a companion, so he doesn't get anywhere near the girls, and we've not noticed since we've done that change any difference in the taste of the milk, so his smell wasn't getting in the milk.
Okay, Anna R. Hi Alex and Molly, I know you don't show the inside of your farm, but are you continuing to renovate?
I guess you mean our farmhouse. No, we're not continuing to renovate because we've got a lack of money. We're basically just keeping ourselves alive, and that's about it. We've managed to sort of, I think you might have seen in a couple of videos ago where I was ripping up one of the floors we've got in our house, and I've ripped it up, and it's still got a hole in it, by the way. We haven't filled that back in yet. But we've got the downstairs of our house, and I should say about 60% of the house we can't even walk around in. There's no ceilings upstairs, there's nothing. So there's a couple of walls and that's it, but we only use basically a little part of our house at the moment. So there's not really a lot to show anybody inside.
And also from Anne, love how happy your goats are. How do you decide whether or not to dehorn them?
We don't dehorn them. at all. I don't like the idea of burning into a baby's head. It just seems a bit, all right, they're not meant to feel it and all the rest of it. No, we don't. As you'll see if you watch them, some of our goats have got horns, some of them haven't. And it is how it is. I actually quite like them with horns to look at, you know. We're very lucky to get, they're not aggressive. Even Jeff, our buck, who's got some seriously long horns, but they've been blunted. The previous owners chopped the sharp tips off the end, so they've got a blunt end on, so they're not as dangerous. But he's like a dog. He's not aggressive whatsoever. So for safety reasons, there's not an issue. And we like them with the horns on, don't we? So no, we don't debug them.
And they're easier to catch as well when the vet shows up.
Yeah.
Can you show us how to make yogurt? I love thick Greek yogurt. I think they use goat's milk to make it. Love you guys, you make my week. Well, thank you, Anne.
And I love yogurt too. I love Greek yogurt, but then I'm partly Greek, so.
I haven't actually tried making yogurt yet. I will have to get this local kraut and give that a try very, very soon.
But you have made a yogurt before, haven't you? You made a small white yogurt for me before, and that was really, really good.
Yeah, yes I did actually.
Yeah, I thought you did, yeah.
Sorry. So we have another question here from Thomas. I also like to know how it was for Molly when she came to Portugal at the age of around 10 years old, isn't it? My kids are around that age and I could only hope that they are going to like living in Portugal as you do.
I guess it all depends on your children, doesn't it? I mean, I came here and Molly was 11-ish, and I was worried that maybe Molly won't like it, or, you know, but thankfully I think you do.
I enjoy it. I like living here. We've got eagles everywhere and I really, really like the wildlife and the nature side of it. So I enjoy living here.
And the silence.
Yeah. We have another question from Pedro Martins. One more please. Okay, two. Do your family enjoy Portuguese food?
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoy Portuguese food, but my mother, on the other hand, isn't such a big fan as she is allergic to olive oil. What are your favourite meals, foods, desserts, beverages?
Oh.
What are we talking about? Are we talking English or are we talking Portuguese?
No, Portuguese. I'm sure you're asking about Portuguese food. My favourite, I've got a couple of favourite dishes, I guess. One is frango assado, which is barbecued chicken, or chamfana, which is basically it's mutton, so it's old goat. They make a really lovely dish with that. So if anybody is out here and would like to try something really tasty, chamfana, I would really recommend that. For me, drinks, sagres, cold beer, or a liqueur, which I like very much with a drop of ice in it. That's a very nice liqueur.
For me, I would have to say my favourite food is bacalhau com natas. That is amazing.
Codfish with chips.
Yeah. And then, dessert. For dessert, I would have to say doce de casa, sweet of the house, which is cream, Marie biscuits, and coffee, and condensed milk. And for me, I'd have to say my favourite beverage is actually Brazilian, but it's drunk a lot here in Portugal, is guaraná, which for us English I would say is the closest equivalent to cherryade. We miss eating bitoques. The fries there in Portugal are exceptionally delicious. The food in general is. Thanks, Sam.
Thanks, Sam. Normally the chips why they're so good is they cook them in half olive oil and half vegetable oil, and the olive oil gives them a nice taste. If you cook them in 100% olive oil, the olive oil will burn because it's got a lower sort of temperature before it starts burning. So many of my friends, the locals and whatnot, I've been to their homes and like you've said, their chips are fantastic, and I said, how have you done it? 50-50, so 50% olive oil, 50% veggie oil. Which
unfortunately my mum can't enjoy.
Yeah, she can't even eat that. And it looks like that's actually the end of the questions, as Molly's just told me. So now we're going to move straight on to our giveaway for you guys. Each copy that you buy us will give you a number which gets put into the draw, which you've got the chance of winning a really super prize. It's got a retail value of around €90, so it's not something cheap we're trying to give you. We're hoping you're going to really enjoy the gift, and we shall choose one of you for next week, because we really do appreciate everybody that watches, gives us a like, buys us a coffee, or has become a patron. You really do help us keep going. You help us keep going and staying here on the farm, because without you guys our finances would be so low that we'd actually struggle to to stay living here, let alone continue with the YouTube channel. So we really do appreciate every single one of you. Now I suppose we ought to show you what you might stand a chance of winning. And here's the pen. It's completely handmade. Well, the wooden part's completely handmade. The nib is 24 karat gold. It's an ink fountain pen. It comes with a manual filler where you can fill it from an actual bottle, but this is removable, and it also comes with some little cartridges which can be bought in all stationery shops around the world, even supermarkets. They're just a very basic ink cartridge that goes in them, and these are absolutely wonderful. Gerhard did an absolutely amazing job of making these. They are beautiful, and he recommends that these are sold for 90 euros.
Here we have some of my handmade soaps made from the olive oil produced here on the farm.
And they smell amazing.
Throughout this week, the 24th to the 31st of July, every time you buy us a coffee, you will receive a number to be entered into our draw on August the 1st. We put your number into an online generator, and it will choose a random winner to win a beautiful hand-turned wooden pen that retails at 90 euros, and there will also be a runners-up prize for some of my handmade soaps. And if you're interested in purchasing anything, please contact on our social medias below. All of our Patreon members will automatically be entered into this draw. We really do appreciate all of your support through Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. So the more coffees you buy, the more chance you have. So good luck, everyone.